2018, maybe on a beach in Naxos, Greece, we decided that we needed a paradigm shift in our lives. Instead of working 48 weeks a year to do the things that we love for 4 weeks, we wanted a lifestyle that allowed us to do the things we love all year round. From that conversation, DwnShifters was born, and a year later, we've moved into a 2019 Ford Transit that we converted ourselves.
We're changing to a lower gear, squeezing into a custom-built van, and exploring the country. Learn with us and come along for the ride.
Hey, I'm John from DwnShifters, and today we are looking at the new Goal Zero Yeti 6000X. If you're interested in DIY camper van videos, consider subscribing to our channel. And if you like this video, give us a simple like at the bottom because it helps other people to see this content. So we have a history with Goal Zero. This is not a paid promotion in any fashion. But we have had the first generation of Yetis, which were we had a 3000 and a 1400. Now, we had some issues with those units. Some of them were battery related, and some of them were software related. Goal Zero, because we were under warranty, offered to upgrade us to a 6000X from the Yeti 3000 and 1400. So this is something that we were excited about and looking forward to as hoping that the new generation would solve some of these software issues and any potential battery issue. This unit is a lithium battery. It has well over 500 amp hours of power. The dimensions on this guy, as it's the biggest as the 6000X, is 15 across roughly by 10 inches deep and 17 inches high. The X series has gotten a little bit of a facelift in terms of color, but otherwise if you've seen the original generation of these units, they look pretty similar. So if we start under the hood here on the top, the first thing that we'll notice is that it has two module locations. These come empty. We actually are using a link system that was incorporated into our previous Goal Zeros. And so we have attached our link to the X generation. Now, what's nice about the link is it has two modes. It either has tank mode, which allows you to build additional storage capacity using AGM batteries. In the car mode, it allows you to charge your Yeti device via your car's alternator, which is super handy in cloudy or inclement weather, or if you're driving at night, then you can be charging your battery supply. The other thing that you'll notice here is that we have an 8mm input, which is 150 watt max. We also have an APP high power port 12 volt output in the hood as well. And the thing that's missing here from the previous generation is the power supply. The power supply used to fit nicely in this module, and that is no longer the case. So the trade-off is that this old power module that you plugged into an outlet was a 50 watt charge. Now with the larger batteries like the 1400, the 3000, and now the 3000X, 50 watts just would take forever to charge this thing. So what they have done is they have moved up to a 600 watt power supply to charge from an outlet into your Yeti. Now, the thing that is great about this is that it charges much faster. The downfall of this, and something that I'm less happy about, is it no longer fits in the lid. So you now have this extra piece that sits outside of your all-in-one that you have to use if you're connected to shore power or your home. For us, our Yeti is hard to get to, and something that we don't like about this unit is that it has to go into your front-facing 600 watt input, and this is a high power port, this APP Anderson power pole connector. And so if we are using shore power, we have to get to our battery, we have to unconnect our solar power and then plug in this guy in order to charge from an outlet. So it can be a little bit of a hassle, and I wish that the option was there to have our solar panel be plugged in as well as this unit. Now, something that's nice is if you don't have a lot of solar panels, the 8mm port that's in the lid and 8mm port that's here that are both 150 watts, you can leave those plugged in. So if you have, say, 3 100-watt panels, then you don't have to go back and forth. For us, we have 600 watts of solar power on our roof, and so it does require us unplugging and plugging in to manage how our battery is being charged. So that is a little bit unfortunate, but we are happy to have the faster charging power pack. So if we look at this guy on the front, this is the high power port. We also have the 8mm 150 watt port for input. So this has a maximum input of 600 watts or 50 volts, and this is telling because it will help you to understand which is better for you to plug your or to wire your solar system via parallel or in series. So if you can get it in there under 50 volts, then that could be the way to go, but you're going to want to do the calculation. For us, we have our 600 watts in parallel, so we don't have voltage issues, and it then has to plug into this APP input, the high power port, because it can get close to 600 watts when we have peak sun. Now, we are at the winter solstice tomorrow. Right now, we are collecting at peak hours a maximum of 300 watts from our solar panels. The days are short, the sun is low, and so we have to be very conscious of our power consumption because we're not taking in a lot from our solar panels this time of year. Moving on is our 12 volt outputs. Now the 12 volt outputs, we have two 6mm outputs. We have a cigarette lighter output, and then we also have another APP Anderson power pole connector here. The nice upgrade here under the hood is that this now includes the 12 volt regulator, so your voltage isn't going up and down all the time. It stays very nearly at 12 point something, which is great for all of the things that you have attached to your Yeti. Now for us, our 12 volt system is running our fan. We have a ceiling fan. It is controlling our refrigerator, and it also is the power for our diesel heater. And so this port alone, you can run into trouble with too much draw when the diesel heater is heating up. So that element, when it heats up, is drawing a lot of electricity. So we have seen lights flicker when the fridge is running too. So something to be mindful of, that perhaps using a dedicated 6mm port for your fridge could mitigate that issue. Hasn't been a big problem for us right now, but it is getting into the 30s at night, so we have been using our heater. The nice thing there is that when it is 30 degrees, our refrigerator doesn't need to run very often because it stays pretty cool. So the 12 volt has the regulator. One thing I forgot to mention is that they have now included into the inputs a MPPT controller. That used to be an additional module to purchase. The MPPT controller makes your solar panels more efficient by about 15%, says Goal Zero. But we have yet to really see this in action just because of the sun that we have. So low sun, short sun, so we're not seeing big numbers or super fast charging right now because the sun just isn't there. Moving on, we have the info screen, and this displays your input, your output. It tells you where your battery capacity currently is at. It tells you how long it's going to take to charge. There's nothing connected to the device right now, so it's going to be 100 hours plus till full. And then we can also see that it has a Wi-Fi indicator. So the Wi-Fi indicator is used in conjunction with their app. So the app, in theory, is awesome. In practice, it's a little bit more challenging, and I will talk about that later. Below the display screen, we have a series of USB connectors. We have over here the 60 watt USB-C power port, so for charging high power devices like your laptop. We have two USB-A's here, and then we have an 18 watt USB-C. We typically don't use these because it's hard to get to our Yeti in our build. And so what we did instead is we have outlets that are around the van, which have USB-A and USB-C integrated into them, so that we can plug in the kitchen, we can plug in our living room, or at night to charge phones in bed. And so while that's a little bit less efficient because we're converting from one power supply to another, it is more convenient for us, and so that's the option that we have chosen because it is hard for us to get to this front interface. Lastly, and maybe most importantly for us, beyond the expanded storage capacity, is that they have upgraded the inverter from a 1500 watt inverter to 2000 watt, and so sort of the promise from Goal Zero is anything you use in your home you can now use in the Yeti, and this is basically true. We have a couple of power hogs that we use. We have an induction stove in the build, and that had a capacity before of 1800 watts, which we could never turn it up that high because it would flip the surge protector. We also have a Bosch electric hot water heater, and that can run at around 14 and peak even higher than that, over 1600 watts, which also used to flip the surge protector on this unit too. So we now are able to, without having it flip, use those devices as long as we're not doing them at the same time. So if we're heating up hot water, we'll make sure not to use the induction stove because that would flip our surge protector. So these are some trade-offs, but this is definitely an upgrade from the previous version. So we rely on these heavily. As I mentioned before, we have outlets everywhere in the van, and so the outlets are for charging our laptops or our camera. It can be used for other things as well, anything that you would use an outlet for. So the unit itself is heavy. So this is somewhere between 70 pounds and 100 pounds. And so I don't know the exact weight because Goal Zero's site says that it's 100 pounds. When we received the box from UPS, it said that it was 70 pounds. So I do know that it's heavy, and for some people it would be hard to manage by themselves. I can lift it and move it, but it's not something that I would want to carry for very long distances. So the idea of it being portable should be considered in quotation marks because it is heavy. Two people with these robust handles can move it quite easily. One person though, it's a job, and so you want to be conscientious of how portable you're thinking this device is. Relatively speaking to other things, it's quite portable. It's all relative, but it's not light, and no batteries are. So the thing that we take issue with this is, well, number one, we have a nice new flange that's on here. And that actually keeps this from being able to slip out. On the 3000s and the 1400s for the first generation, these could rattle out sometimes if the connectors get loose. So the addition of this extra flange is nice. It makes this connection feel more secure. I wish that it was incorporated into the two 12 volts as well for the same reason. There's nothing more frustrating than thinking that you're all plugged in and charging up to realize that you're not in fact doing so. So I do like the addition. I wish that they would move it to all of the connectors for the same reason. Other things that we find frustrating is the app. And so they have a new app that was released at about the same time as the X series. And in theory, it's really fantastic. It gives you the same information that you see on the display. It also has the ability to send you notifications about the state of your battery. However, for us, this hasn't worked, and that might be because of our OS. We are using Pixel phones, which are Android based, and the notifications are not working currently. So it can be quite frustrating if you are not getting updates on what's happening with your device to then discover that you have no power. I pretty religiously check the app just to look at the display screen on the app, just to make sure that we're in a good place, that things are charging, or that we're not drawing too much electricity. The other frustration with the app that we've experienced is we had one heck of a time getting someone logged on to the app and to not get kicked out. And so it was a couple of days of trying with doing this and trying to link the two between phone, app, and battery, there was some frustrations, and we were never able to get Jess, my partner's app, and my app to be connected at the same time without one of them eventually being disconnected and not working anymore. So what we decided is that I would have the app because I love to see how much power we have all the time, and that's sort of one of the things that I monitor in our little home. And since then, with the one dedicated device, it has been pretty reliable. I don't think it's kicked me off in 3 weeks, and we've had the unit for about a month now. And but that then goes to the fact that the notifications are not working still. So the other frustration is that they released the device before all the components are working still. So the CarLink has some issues still. It does work, but you'll see spikes in the input, you'll see drop-offs, you'll see no input while you're driving. This apparently is a software issue. It is supposed to be resolved either this month in December of 2020 or early 2021. We will see. So those are the frustrations. The thing that we like about it, though, is that it is a warranted device. If there is issues with it, we can just ship it and get it sent back with a new one or a fixed one. We don't have to worry about wrestling around with a DIY battery kit. The reason that we opted for an all-in-one was because we were doing a very short turnaround time on our build, and so we wanted to remove a system that we had to design and build so that we could stay on our calendar date. So this is, in our opinion, right now, the best all-in-one that is offered. It is expensive. It's $5,000, and then it's more to get additional modules. So it's not cheap. You can definitely DIY your batteries and your electrical for cheaper. But for us, there was a convenience factor, the warranty, which made us feel like this was a good decision. So the chat on their website is really quite great for technical questions. So as you're designing your build, feel free to email them or chat with them to ask questions. They are very responsive. We love their chat feature. We have had some frustrations with having devices mailed to us. That's something that's hard to do when you live on the road and you don't have a permanent address per se. And so the sort of actual customer experience with getting new units when our old units have failed has been a frustrating experience. We have a full write-up on that on our website at DwnShifters.com. That you're more than welcome to check out if you're interested in understanding our previous experience more. We are recording this in December of 2020, and we have a month of use of this guy, and so far so good, minus some little irritations and the fact that the app is not working as it is designed to yet. We will keep you posted with a write-up on our website. So if you are watching this well after December 2020, head to DwnShifters.com to understand any new issues or appreciations that we have for the 6000X. Right now, we're pretty happy with it. Having the additional battery power, that it's over 500 amp hours, is amazing. It's always nice to see, especially having lived with a smaller system, how much battery we have left when we're doing our normal routine week to week. So all in all, so far so good for the Goal Zero Yeti 6000. I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. If you haven't seen our van build video yet, you should check it out. It's really a unique build. We have a Murphy bed, we have a bathroom and a kitchen and a shower and a garage, and we even have a cute little doggy home. So if you haven't seen that yet, go ahead and click on the link at the end of this video to watch our van build. And again, if you liked this video, please give it a like so other people will see it, and a subscribe if you're interested in seeing more content about building your own DIY camper van. Alright, I'm John from DwnShifters. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.